Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Club. This is the place everyday real estate investors gather to share their best stories, biggest insights, and favorite tactics to grow a portfolio of cash-flowing properties in today's market. Here's your host, Gabe Peterson.
All right, we are back with another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys are having a good day, a good week, a good month, whatever day it is for you. I actually just got back from my honeymoon just on this last Sunday. So I've been completely not even plugged into my phone or work or anything for 2 weeks. It was pretty blissful. We went over there to Spain. It was like 100 degrees. I could not handle it, but it's a lot of fun. But it's good to be back. It's good to get into the groove. And it's a good day for a second reason because we have Joel Miller with us on the podcast. Joel has been investing since 1978, so he has quite a bit of experience. He is the author of the best-selling book, Build Real Estate Wealth. He's also a professional DJ with over 5,000 appearances, so a lot to go into here. I'm excited. Joel, thanks for hopping on.
Hey, Gabriel, I've been looking forward to this. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
And congratulations on your recent marriage.
Thank you. I told you before we got on here, we always like to start with stories. We like to hear how people got to where they are. So why don't you take us to the beginning, all the way to the beginning, back in 1978, and tell us how you got into real estate and how it's been going since then.
I can take you back a little further than that because really there were two events that happened to me in junior high school that really set me on my path to the two main paths that I've had in life. And the first was that an investor built 4 4-unit apartment buildings at the edge of our subdivision, which were right on my paper route. I got all those tenants as customers on my paper route, but I have a distinct memory in about 8th grade being in my bedroom, kind of doing the math on what this whole rental property thing looks like, because we all lived with our parents in single family homes that they owned. So this was different, that these people paid to be there and they didn't own the property. And I kind of put that in my back pocket and said, I want to do that later, And the other thing was that one of the older kids in the neighborhood built a pirate radio station in his basement and had the antenna on a flagpole in the backyard. Now, a pirate radio station is unlicensed, illegal radio station. So I got to hang out there. And that's when I decided I wanted to be a DJ, which I might clarify, I have been retired from since 2011. But I did radio production in high school and went away to college and studied accounting, which I believe you could use in any profession that you're in, But I went to a college that had a great radio station program. They had AM and an FM radio station, and eventually was hired, halfway through college back in my hometown at the big 50,000 watt top 40 FM station, And so I finished college in town here, and right before I was ready to graduate from college, my weekend guy status went to full time on the radio. And so that made it possible for me to take the calls from the kids, one of the DJs from the radio station, to come out and do the record hop in the gym sort of thing. And that kind of changed my life. And I ended up leaving radio. But I did that to pioneer the mobile DJ business in this part of the country. I'm in Erie, Pennsylvania, halfway between Cleveland and Buffalo, right along Lake Erie. And so I did that for 35 years, 5,051 appearances, as you referred to. But about a year and a half after my first mobile DJ appearance, I did buy my first rental property in January of 1978. I still have it, Gabe. I was just there a few days ago. It's a cash cow,
Still have it. Wow. So I got to ask,
anybody who added on to that over the years,
Yeah. Anybody who got started that early, I'm always curious what you bought your first rental properties for. So that first one, 1978, what'd you buy it for?
Well, how much? $25,000. And I put 20% down. I bought it through a realtor, and it was the last property that I used a realtor to buy.
Wow. $25,000. Yeah. That is crazy.
I have sold many properties using my realtor, but there's only been a few occasions when she brought me a few flips that were bank owned or something like that. But none of my rentals were any more from realtors. The best way to find deals is the off market deals, as you may know.
But
So that went on for a while, doing the mobile DJ work and the real estate investing. I actually did start an accounting practice after college, which I sold after about 5 years because something had to give, But that's part of the premise of my book, Build Real Estate Wealth. The subtitle is Enjoy the Journey of Rental Property Investment. And it points out that real estate doesn't have to be an either or thing. You can choose to add rental real estate to something that you don't want to give up. Like I did, I had a passion for being an entertainer, a mobile DJ in particular, and I didn't want to give that up. And so I grew those two things side by side. And the book talks about how to do that, but it also gives you the tools if your goal is to leave your job as soon as possible and do real estate full time. That's possible too, of course. But the book is for people who maybe don't even think that real estate is for them, but they because they don't understand how it works, or they think it's got to be an either or situation. But it's also for people that have established portfolios that are looking for some sort of game-changing information that'll supercharge whatever portfolio they already have. It's not just for the beginner. It takes you all the way from mindset through entity formation before it even gets into the usual things that books on this thing talk about, which is property acquisition and having the property. And then beyond that, we talk about philosophical things like comparing the difference between riches and wealth, and also other philosophical things that you can put to use, best practices for your business and your life.
Well, yeah, and I feel like that's such an important distinction to make, because a lot of people, especially people that come on this show, they are active investors. That is their primary job. They're out there, they're building a company, that kind of thing. But for the vast majority of investors, real estate investors out there, it is not, doing real estate is not their primary job. They have a second job. Maybe they're a lawyer, maybe they're an accountant, a doctor, anything. Firefighters we've had on. And so it's important to remember that real estate is a great vehicle for wealth, regardless of if it's the primary focus of your career.
Right. You may be doing something you're passionate about, but it's not providing you all the income that you need. And that's what income property does, is provide cash flow. And nor is it maybe providing any retirement for you. Like when I was self-employed, I realized my retirement was totally up to me. I mean, there were vehicles like, IRAs to invest in, but I still had to have the money to put into the IRAs and also decide what was going on in the retirement accounts. And eventually I switched to actually investing in property within my self-directed Roth IRA, which is a whole other podcast that we can talk about. But I should add that over the years, then starting in 1991, I did start flipping houses in addition to the rental property portfolio. I flipped over 100 houses. And then in 2018, got into hard money lending, which also is a whole other podcast, which gives me a great satisfaction to be part of the equation for the other investors that are a little earlier on in their journeys in our area here. And in addition to that, I'm heavily involved with the professional organization of landlords in our part of the country. Currently the VP, I was our longest serving past president, and I teach the landlord 101 classes that we offer, as well as some more advanced classes. And so if we leave this podcast with anything, I just want to tell your listeners, if you really want to grow your business, you've got to get involved with other people that are doing the same thing you're doing. Get involved with your local RIA, as it is sometimes called, and get at the table with other people that are either doing what you're doing at the same time, or they've done what you're trying to do, and just absorb everything you can from those relationships. Because how do you think I bought all those properties without using a realtor over the years? It was through relationships, and investors sell to other investors when it's time. We're not all at the same place in our career, same arc, in the career at the same time. At some point, we sell properties to somebody that's, looking for those sort of properties.
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned it was just that first deal that you bought on market. Everything else has been off market, and that just goes to
Mhm.
show how important it is to either generate your own flow of leads, or just be
Mhm.
networking, going out there talking to people, because you're going to find some wholesalers, you're going to find some other investors who find deals that they're not quite interested in. And that's where the majority, or a big portion at least, of your deal flow will come from, is these
Sure.
people you meet. And not only that, it's just a lot of fun to meet people like
Mhm.
yourself, just
Mhm.
other investors. Makes the journey a lot more enjoyable. So
Mhm.
it sounds like you've done kind of three strategies in your career. You've bought and hold. So you've bought some rentals,
Yeah.
you've kept them in your portfolio, one since 1978. Crazy. You've done flips, and then you've done hard money lending.
Mhm.
Have you ever been into commercial properties, or has there been
Most
any?
of my units over the years have been residential. I have had some commercial. Some of my worst experiences were with commercial, but uh, that's my fault. That was earlier on and involved uh, coming into a partnership to become the managing partner of an existing operation where there were two other partners. And my problem was not with the partners, but it was with large tenants who went bankrupt.
Oh, it
Not
was
long
a strip center
after I.
retail.
Pardon me.
Was it? What type of commercial was it? Was it strip center
The
retail?
one was the uh, corporate offices for a large retail chain that had 51% of our building, and another one was a restaurant along with a banquet room that connected to the restaurant that had another 25%. And within this is back in 1988, within a few months after I came in, both of those went first chapter 11 and then chapter 7 eventually. So I
Oof,
spent
that's
10
rough.
years in that deal putting out fires and eventually gave my interest to the other two partners,
Yeah,
literally gave it to them,
you're just like, I'm done.
and
We don't want any of this.
yeah. And so that would be my answer to uh, you know, like something I never want to do again, or whatever one of those questions are. Like,
Yeah. So of the three strategies that you kind of focused on, your residential, long-term rentals, your hard money lending, and then flipping properties, which one has been the one that you've enjoyed the most, or the one that you found the most success with?
hard money lending.
Oh, interesting.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's so much, not only is that profitable, but, again, like I mentioned, I get to be, as I use the phrase, part of the equation
Mm.
for other investors and their deals. And a lot of these are people that have taken the classes that our organization offers, and I pretty much require that they belong to our professional organization in order for me to do business with them. So they've in some cases joined in order to get a loan from me, you know, and taken the class in order to get a loan from me. Uh,
Yeah.
and so they've benefited in multiple ways too.
Makes sense. So again, let's go back to your acquisition strategy. So you have mentioned that first deal was the only one you bought through a realtor. Everything else has been
Mhm.
off market. Finding deals is real deals is one of the most difficult parts of building a real estate business, because
Oh yeah, you
it
can't just
all
go to
comes in
Walmart
signing
and
that
take
paper.
a foreclosure off the shelf because you need another one today. No, uh, you it, you have to take what comes down the pipe.
There you go. So what are the primary ways that you're generating leads and getting new deals?
Well, first of all, I am not in the property acquisition mode now. I
Okay.
am actually selling things off. Uh, Down to the point of the properties that my son is going to take over in a little while. We can come back to that, but just to kind of think about some of the strategies that I did use when I was acquiring properties. I had a pretty good mailing campaign,
Okay.
to people that were in foreclosure. So I bought properties in many instances before people got to the share sale, or maybe
Pre-foreclosure.
made
Yeah.
arrangements to buy them at the share sale because I was able to get in those houses before they got to the sale and be able to assess, what might have to be done inside the houses because I was in contact with people living there before they moved out.
Yeah.
So that was a good strategy that I had. And so that brings me to another, source that I would mention that I had a lot of success in with was auctions,
Mm.
particularly uh, foreclosure auctions, which are sheriff sale auctions, as well as U.S. Marshal auctions, which would be auctions of they're just like a sheriff sale or a foreclosure, but those are properties that have to be sold by the U.S. Marshal because the loans on them were from the USDA.
Interesting. I actually,
Yeah.
that's the first time I've heard of that.
Yeah, they can't go through the regular county sheriff sale system for those. So
And it's because the loans were what?
they were the mortgages were from the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA loans.
So they were farmland?
No, it would be typically in a subdivision.
Interesting. And for some
Yeah.
reason, why would the USDA give out loans for a residential property?
Well, it was a big program that they had, particularly back in the, I guess, 80s, 90s.
Huh.
The deal was that you could get the loan based on your income, and if your income fluctuated during the term of the loan, your payment increased or decreased. So
Based on
for
your
some people, it
income?
turned
No
out to be
way.
a really good. What's that?
Based on your income. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first time I've
yeah.
heard of that one too.
So here's what would happen sometimes is that people would uh, their income would somehow go down, and their payment would be adjusted such that they weren't actually even paying anything on the principal. And
Interesting. Yeah.
then maybe they got in trouble that they couldn't make the payments at all, and they would find out that they owed um, maybe more money than they borrowed
Yeah.
because of accumulating
Interest.
interest and fees and so on.
Huh.
That's a if you're listening to this and you don't know anything about USDA loans, it's I think if you Google it, you could find out some of the details. But
Interesting. Yeah, I'm sure they probably still don't provide those anymore, given the changes that happened during the 2007, 2008.
yeah, I don't know if they still do them or not. I know they still foreclose on them though.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I just took a peek at the clock. It looks like we have run it down. We've crossed the 15-minute mark, so it is time to jump into the quick question round. Are you ready?
Okay, sure.
All right. Starts with education. It could be any form. It could be a book you've read, a conference you've gone to, mentorship program you've been a part of, a movie you've seen, yada, yada, any of that stuff. I just need 2 recommendations, one for general life wisdom and then one for real estate.
Okay. General life wisdom. I'm going to take you into the Wayback Machine. Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
You wrote Think and Grow Rich. This is Grow Rich with Peace of Mind, his companion book to that. I think my copy right here is like, I don't know, it's like 1978 or something like that. I got to look now. What is it? Yeah, I can't even find it here. 1967. There we go.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And my favorite book on real estate. Oh my gosh, this guy, Joel Miller, wrote this book, Build Real Estate Wealth, Enjoy the Journey of Rental Property Investment. But I know you want a better answer than that. And I'm going to be really cliche here. I really enjoyed Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I will tell you that everybody who owns a copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad should get a copy of my book because it's kind of written as a companion book to that.
Okay.
Cool. My book will go a little deeper into the nuts and bolts. And if you have those 2 books.
And we'll prime you at the very end for where they can find
you're good.
it. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
All right, next question is for your younger self. Let's go back to the Joel who was just getting started in 1978. Go back to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward. Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, move faster, think bigger, and remember it's relationships that count.
Wow, that's good. Move faster, think bigger, and focus on relationships. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a triple recommendation there. I like
I'll
it.
give you a quick one here. I'm often asked, and a question that prompts me to give this answer. If I had a choice of losing all my money or losing all my relationships, I would lose all my money in a heartbeat, because my relationships will help me get my money back. Don't make a withdrawal from a relationship just to make a deposit in your bank account.
Good one. I like that too. Don't make a withdrawal in a relationship just to make a deposit in your bank account. That's a good one. All right, moving us on to the next question, and this is about the U.S. It is a big place. There is tons of opportunity out there. Mm-hmm. Give me the single metro you're most excited about investing in today.
Well, I have always stuck with Erie County, Pennsylvania. It's probably I'm not necessarily the one to ask about investing in other markets outside of my area. That's just never been what I did.
Yeah,
I've always found that for what I wanted to do, there was enough going on here that was within 15, 20 minutes of my location to make me rich. And I believe that's probably the case no matter where you live.
Yep. For most areas, I believe that would actually be true. All right, moving us on. This is about lessons learned. Not every deal we get into goes the way we expect it. In fact, many times, if not every time, something will go wrong. And that's when we get to learn a lesson. So give me a deal, or take me back to a deal that went a little bit sideways for you. And then what was the lesson you pulled from it?
Well, we talked about that about 10 minutes ago when I told you about that commercial property where the tenants went bankrupt. So the lesson learned is that if you are investing in commercial property, particularly if there are what we would call anchor tenants, that if one of those went out, it would cause problems with you because the other little tenants that are there are not enough, to keep it going. My lesson learned is to vet those anchor tenants enough to know, they're not 3 months from bankruptcy.
Yeah. Especially those type of commercial buildings that it takes quite a while to turn the lease around to get a new tenant.
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense. All right, so let's go to the highlight reel. You've had a long career. I'm sure a couple deals, one or two deals, stand out in your mind as just the stars aligned and everything went right. Take me to that deal and give me the highlights.
Oh, I love this one. I had a row home that I had acquired in a foreclosure auction, and like a row homes, they're going to be like in our case 4 to 6 residences in one building. Property line goes up the wall, they're like condos. Well, I had a tenant on an end unit that started asking me, "Hey, what's the deal with the end unit on the next building here that isn't being taken care of? Can you do anything about it?" So, well, let me find out who owns it. So, long story short, I found out that the owner was actually somebody that I knew. It was a doctor that came to my DJ appearances and would talk to me there. So when I inquired, it turned out he had 10 of them in the neighborhood. This neighborhood had maybe 150 of them all together within a few blocks. He owned 10 of them in there. And he was 59, and he was being told by his cardiologist if he didn't retire now, he was going to die. And so he literally sold his medical practice and sold me his entire portfolio of 14 units over 13 properties. 10 of them were the 10 row homes that I was talking about. Half of them were not occupied, and all of them were under rented. And I bought them for no money down, no payments, no interest for like 18 months. The purchase price was 2/3 of whatever the appraised value was, and he had a recent paid appraisal for all of the properties. Third party paid appraisal, whatever that was, 2/3 of that was the purchase price. After that, the payments went to I don't know, interest only for 5 or 6 years or something like that. And then, I actually then entered into an amortized loan with him following that first 6 years or something. He's still alive. He's in his 80s. So his doctor was right, He took the stress out of his life.
Yeah.
But
well, I was going to say,
what's
I'm
that?
sure that was a benefit to both parties there, because if
Yeah,
you have a problem and it's itching, it's just wearing you down. What you want is just to get it over easy, quick. One
Right.
buyer takes the whole thing, and so you stepped in, you got a deal. He sold it to you. He got the problem off his back. It was a win-win situation.
So I took about 18 months when I had no payments, because I told him that's how long it would take, and improved the properties and filled them all and got them to market rents, operated them for 23 years, finally sold them a couple of years ago for 4 times what I paid for them.
Love it.
After making tons of money on them over the years.
And that is that just goes to show relationships are one of the most important things in real estate. Just like you mentioned, I'm sure there's plenty of stories you can give us, and I can give plenty of stories myself on just a situation where the relationship was the key, it was the linchpin, and that's what allowed you to have the opportunity. So awesome! I'm going to move us on to the next question. This is, I lost my place. I do this so many times. Oh, this is the last question. This is for the listeners. You've given us a lot to think about. I'm sure people want to reach out, get in contact with you. This is going to be a 2-parter. Tell me, where can they find you? And then what can they expect when they reach out?
Well, you can put my name into Facebook, X, Instagram, or LinkedIn and whatever. And as long as you don't find Joel Miller, the video game character, which apparently is out there, put real estate with my name, you'll find me. But the best place to go is to the website that is dedicated to the book, which is simply joelmillerbooks.com. JoelMillerbooks.com. And on the homepage of that, you can click on something that'll show you the entire table of contents of the book. It's fairly detailed, so you can see what we're getting into. Click on something else that will also show you sample content from like 3 or 4 of the meatiest paragraphs from each chapter. And if you click on a buy button there, it'll take you right to the page on Amazon where the book is for sale.
Sweet. All right. I will put that link in the show notes. So if you guys want to reach out and get that book, all you got to do is click the little more in the description. It's going to pull down that full description, and in there you can find Joel's links.
Yeah.
All right, man. That wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Gabriel, this was fun and fast.
Yeah.
This is moving fast like I should have been moving in my first years, Too busy building a DJ business at the time, I guess.
There you go. With that, I appreciate everybody who hopped on the show with us. We do this for you. So if you guys have any questions, just reach out to me, Gabe, at realestateInvestingClub.com. If you guys want to support the show, just leave us a review, a thumbs up, all that stuff. Other than that, I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week, and keep rocking real estate. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks, Gabe.
All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.